Hey, it's Kley. Welcome to another video. This is a pretty exciting introductory slash first impressions video of this new Two Notes Torpedo Captor. This is a pretty cool little box. I watch the NAMM show every year, like a lot of people probably do, but for the most part I don't really get excited about anything in specific. But this box really caught my eye right from the get-go, and here we are in October, and it's finally been released to the general public for sale, and I thought I would offer some first impressions and a little bit of a review of what I think of this box. First and foremost, so you understand my context, I am using this primarily as a home guitarist looking to capture the sounds of my tube amps in a relatively quiet environment. I have 3 young children that live in my house. They take naps. They don't like loud guitar amps, so it's really just not feasible for me to have these raging loud guitar amps going on in my basement and upsetting everybody. So what I plan on using this box for is mostly as a load box. And what's cool about this is it uses a reactive load. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of what that means. Just know that it's very important to have a reactive load so that it sounds and feels like a guitar amp when you have the output transformer and the speaker. There is a reactive, dynamic relationship between those two elements. They feed into one another. They talk back and forth. And the reactive load in this box does the same type of thing. So that's the primary feature that I was really excited about. Reactive load in a box like this at this price point really doesn't exist anywhere else in the market. It also has an onboard speaker simulation, which I'm going to try out, but primarily I'm going to be using this as the line out into my audio interface, and then I will apply impulse responses in my DAW for speaker simulation. It also is capable of doing some attenuation. Now, one of the things that I find limiting about this is, as an attenuator, is it only has a negative 20 dB output, and so you don't really have any control over the level of attenuation. You just have kind of a fixed point. So for that purpose, it's a bit limited. But to get something that is cost-effective, to take your tube amp, to plug into your audio interface, and to use impulse responses, this is probably the best and the cheapest way to go. The only other thing I want to mention is that they sell them in either 4, 8, or 16 ohm, and so that means you have to kind of pick an output. Now, I picked 8 ohm because that's pretty typical for the amps that I use, but I think it would be kind of nice if they could have the device all in one 4, 8, 16 ohm in one box, but that probably, is just, this device is aimed to be a little bit more simple, straightforward, basic, kind of stripping down some of the features of the other Two Notes devices. But hey, I want to be upfront about some of my initial thoughts. At this point, I want to jump into some tone clips. First, I'm going to test out the built-in speaker simulation. And basically, you run the amp in, and then you actually run a XLR out to your interface, and it needs 48-volt phantom power, or you can run a 9-volt plug. And it has guitar and bass sim, which I will test all 3. So let's go ahead and listen to that. Then after that, I will do a couple different tones using the line out to my audio interface and using impulse responses from Own Hammer to test some tones. So let's jump into that now. Thanks.